Security has become a real value add for service providers, and we're going to talk to Rob Reardon of Cellcom Insight. Rob, you guys have been offering security services now for a while. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's actually been a very successful business for us. I get a charge out of it. I try to get a hold of our guy that's doing a lot of the installation work, and he's always too busy. He's at least booked 2 weeks out in advance. What's happened is the consumer market is looking for security. At $49 a month or whatever the big guys charge, it's not going to happen. But we're down at $29. The marketplace actually says that if you can get down in the area about $15 to $20 in that area, they should have over 50% of the market take it. And that would be obviously a terrific business. We're finding right now we can't keep up with it at 29 months, and that's reoccurring fees on it. We pay a monitoring fee to a network, but we get a great deal of the money. The majority of the money comes to us. And then the installation itself isn't that bad, and we get a little money off of that. So it's been a very successful business for us. The reason people want it is that first they get about a 20% discount or more on their insurance. So that really helps out. The second thing is we can tie it into your cell phone. So now if I am away and I want to see what's going on at my house, I can check my temperature. I can see what that's like. If I have, I can put in sensors to see if there's water leakage. Okay. For people who have condos, it's incredibly important because they'll be sitting there and all of a sudden they have a slight leak in their faucet somewhere or their washing machine or whatever it might be. And if they're not sensing that, they can end up with hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage in the neighbors' apartments, which mean lawsuits, for a $15 device. It just doesn't make any sense not to do it. So we've been very successful with it.
Are you seeing most of your business from residential or from business customers, or what's the distinction between the two?
It's actually a good mix of either one. The businesses are a little more demanding. We also have video cameras, and right now we're using the analog CCTV. The quality isn't quite where I think it needs to be for full business, but the price is great. So a lot of businesses will take that. You've all seen it on the 6 o'clock news where they've got a guy that they're trying to identify and you're looking at this blob on the screen. We need to improve that. But there are now starting to get some IP cameras that are pretty darn good. Actually high definition at some very reasonable prices. And we're going to be exploring some of that. One of the other things we're finding in the business arena is that the parameter security is important. I have
when you say parameter security, what do you mean by that?
The outer edge of the property, you want to see when somebody breaks and walks into it. So we've as an example, the current technology says, well, you need to know if somebody's in the building. Well, I have a glass break in my house in a couple of places. And when I drove my snowblower into the garage, it set off the glass break alarm. When I started my chainsaw in the garage, same thing. So, that didn't work so well. Well, now a company called SiteLogic has come up with a technology that, particularly for business because of the price point on it, you're able to take and tell not only did somebody walk into my property, because it's a heat sensing camera. So it looks and says, is there a heat signature? Is there a truck going through, a car going through? But one of the problems with those normally is that you've got a situation where if a dog walks through, you see the dog. Right. This thing has a multiple number of processors in it, and it tells you how far are you away from the camera itself. So if you're 30 feet away and you're 6 feet tall and about 2 feet wide, you're human. Yeah. But if you're 2 feet away and you're a dog standing on legs, you're still a dog standing on legs. So there's no reason to record that, no reason to do anything with it. But because it also tells you how far you are and where exactly the person is located as they're walking through, you can tie it into another camera, a pan, tilt, zoom, and now I can pan in and get a high-definition picture of the perpetrator that's breaking into my property.
And get that alert on your cell phone so suddenly you can control that camera.
Absolutely. You can be looking at it on the camera. It will automatically track it, but now you've got the message and now you're looking at it. And you're recording it, so now you have something solid that you can use and pass on to the police department. But it's a real crossing of the line, because otherwise with the stuff they put on the fences, you rattle the fence and you've set off an alarm. That doesn't really tell you much.
Well, and it may actually be like the boy who cried wolf, right? After a while, you get all this data, and if 99% of it's kind of useless, you kind of maybe ignore even the 1% that you do need, right?
Well, that's exactly right. The current status that I've got a camera at my house out in my cottage, and the beauty of it is that it every time there's motion, it records. which means every time the tree moves, every time that a bunny rabbit runs across the field or leaves blow off the trees, I've got some great photos. And I really don't need them.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And what about from a consumer standpoint? What services do you see them using the most?
Well, the consumers, the temperature and being able to control the temperature is one of the biggest things they've got. The second one is cameras. The consumers really like, and it is interested because with your cell phone now, you can see what's going on. Take a look at your cell phone. You now see that there's somebody moving in your house, and you can actually see that where you're at, which is a real advantage. But you first get the alarm because somebody has actually gone into it. Now, you may get it going to your security company. You may just have it come to your phone. Either way, you can do it. And we're able to take a look at and then make a decision as to whether or not it's one of the kids that forgot to turn off the security alarm or it's a burglar that's in the house.
So from a sales perspective, you're kind of in a unique situation because you do have a cell phone company, you have the landlines, of course, as well. But how are you marketing this? Through what organization?
Well, it's through our landline operation. Okay. And the interesting part about it is in our area, a lot of the one company was buying up all the different security companies. And so there were people who say, well, gee, I don't want to work with these guys. I mean, they're okay, but I just don't want to work with them. We found a gap that we were able to walk right into. But what we've got is the telephone company is a trusted entity in a community. So the same group that sells our key systems, our PBXs, our business systems, is this group that goes in and also says, by the way, we can do security for you. And we are finding more and more people asking for that in the residential or in the business system, either way. And it's basically been word of mouth. We're too busy to do a lot of advertising. We do a little bit, but not a ton.